So, continuity and change in South Asia. We saw how Buddhism was flourishing up to the Gupta period. It does spread across Asia, but it is actually waning in South Asia and centering in this region. Hinduism grows prominent from the Gupta period onward, but it is also going to be centering here in the south because the north is increasingly going to be changed by the outside world. The Gupta dynasty had actually experienced threats that weakened it starting in the 600s when the Huns were galloping across Eurasia and causing havoc in empires from the Gupta Empire to the late Roman Empire. Here's a colored engraving suggesting what it might have been like to witness one of the fierce battles of the Huns. I say what it might have been like because this was made in the 1870s. The artist here is inventing based on records and stories, but we have no idea if this is really what the boots were like. We do know that the Huns were famous as archers and as horseback riders, and this certainly captures the sense that those two powerful military skills had made them incredibly terrifying to a great many societies and cultures across Eurasia. The Gupta Empire had broken up, and the northern region of India was subject to threats from outside, increasingly in the 600s, the Huns, and then also other disastrous foreign invasions, and Muslim conquerors were posing a growing threat. And so the Punjab was annexed by the ruler Mahmud of Ghor, which is now known as Afghanistan, who destroyed Mathura, the city of the gods. The real marker was the 1200s, when the Delhi Sultanate was established, and when we have a claim to permanent rule and the beginnings of a strong element of Islamic culture as in part of the integral whole of Indian culture. So the growing presence of Islamic culture is marked here in your textbook with this mighty mosque complex, Quwwat-ul-Islam, the strength of Islam. And it was built over the citadel of Delhi's previous rulers because it has a political role to play. It is not just a mosque for religious observation. It is very much a statement that the Sultan is now the true ruler and the previous rulers are submerged under, right? When you build something over the previous ruler's citadel, it's a clear statement of superiority, of dominance, of victory. And certainly that sense of is enhanced by the minaret, right, of these incredible proportions, right? This so dramatic. And a minaret is a version of an axis mundi too, although its function is the call to prayer. But this doesn't actually function that way because it's too tall to have a call for prayer in an age without broadcast technology. This is very much a statement of the might of the ruler and the might of Islam. On the same note, right, it is actually made out of sandstone that was used in previous structures. Here's the line I want to point to. Portions of the Jain and Hindu religious structures from this location were reused. There's a term in art history for that, spolia, the spoils of war. When a victor takes the elements of the conquered people's culture and uses them either to display superiority or power, or uses them literally as the materials out of which to build a statement, a monument of power and conquest. But the most interesting, brilliant, and noteworthy Islamic ruler in northern India was not interested in statements of power at all. I mean, he liked his power, for sure, but he was far more complex than to just put up a monument to victory. Instead, he created a magnificent age of painting. And this was part of his creation of a cosmopolitan culture of great curiosity, openness and learning. And this is Akbar. And here you see his portrait of Akbar the Great, which is kind of redundant because Akbar means great. So he's great. I love Akbar, so I love to tease him for his qualities because I think he's an amazing art patron. And he is part of a Turkish Mongolian lineage. So he's not part of the original the Sultanate at Delhi. Instead, he is a grandson of Babur, who also is awesome because his name translates panther, which sounds like something, you know, you would have called yourself when you were 3 years old. So Babur, the panther, the founder of this great line, his grandson not only creates a magnificent artistic culture, but actually passes it down to his sons, Jahangir, and then Shah Jahan. So there's a whole lineage of art that is full of curiosity about the world, supporting not just artistic talent, but a kind of delight in discovery. So this exquisite painting shows the founder of the Mughal dynasty, Timur, who was a fierce military leader, shows him handing the crown to Babur. And this is in the presence of Babur's son, Humayun. So this is an image of the passage of political power, but what we're going to be studying is the amazing artistic power and the intellectual power that gets passed on through this dynasty, this Mughal dynasty. So in this painted scene, we have Akbar, and he is receiving the Persian ambassador. So this is also a statement of his power that the Persian ambassador has come to greet us. But look at the statement of his absolutely embrace of the world, his fascination with all the members of his court, all the colors. You see it in the painting, the desire to show you all the wonderful details that make up the rich culture of Akbar's world. And that's what we're going to look at very closely as we read carefully through the Mughal period here, learning about the techniques, because these paintings are amazing and it's fascinating to learn how they're done, and the palace that Akbar builds. And it's wonderful that the book has chosen for you as a sample of the artworks that Akbar patronizes, a painting that depicts the building of that very palace. So we'll be looking at this painting, but other paintings in general, to learn about Akbar's achievements, the kind of cosmopolitan culture he created, and the brilliant style of art that he left to the world.